Wasabi wallet. Unfairly private.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Why Are We Bullish? We've got a killer panel today. Very excited for it. As always, these things are live, so anything can happen. So a quick message from a good friend of mine. Hold on here.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
You never know, it's live, so forgive any technical difficulties. Again, very excited. There's already, we're getting close to 50 people already watching in the chat. We will be bringing up some of your chat messages as we see them during the show. But if you can, smash that like button, share this out, subscribe, whatever you need to do. All of those things that you do help bump this in front of way more eyeballs. And with that, I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session. Here we go.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
All right, so before we get started, let's take a look at where we're sitting in the market and a few little metrics we want to cover. Right now, we are sitting around $17,945. For $1 you will pick up 5,573 Satoshis. Already 88.42% of all Bitcoin have been mined. That's going to be hitting 90% by the end of next year. Stack those sats while you can. Fee estimates, if you're looking for next block, around 31 sats per byte. Within an hour, you're looking at 10 sats a byte. And anything beyond, you can probably get through with 1 sat per byte. And of course, before we dive into the panel, quick shout out to sponsors of the show. Of course, LEDN.io. I've been with these guys forever. And we've got a guest from LEDN on the show today. Mauricio, obviously a legend. We'll chat with him briefly, but LEDN, you can use your Bitcoin for a variety of different services. Of course, they have their Bitcoin backed loans, which have saved my butt on a couple occasions. This is where you use your Bitcoin as collateral to get a Canadian or US dollar loan. So if you're in a pinch and you need to get your hands on dollars, but obviously you don't want to sell your Bitcoin because that's taxable and you're worried about maybe having to buy back in at a higher price, that could be for you. Obviously, they also have their Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts with interest rates of up to 11.7% annually paid monthly, and their B2X offering using the same loan mechanism to instantly buy more Bitcoin, effectively doubling your Bitcoin on the spot. If you want to check out any of those services down below, there's a link. If you click that link and you opt to get either of the loan services, they will give you $25 into your savings for free. We have Cobo Vault, one of my regularly used hardware wallets. This thing is beautiful because it's air gapped and it does it in an easy way. You never plug it into anything internet connected. All of it is via QR code. It has a secure element. It is open source firmware, and I recommend you switch to that Bitcoin only firmware. Far superior in my opinion. And of course, it works with all of my favorite wallets. It works with Bitcoin Core, Electrum, Wasabi wallet on desktop, Blue Wallet, and a lot of the great multi-sig solutions out there. Check it out. I'm using the Vault Pro, which has the fingerprint scanner and the rechargeable battery. Also, I'm living on Bitcoin and I need to eat and live and Christmas shop and all that great stuff. I do that via Bitrefill because all of my income is Bitcoin. So I got to find interesting ways to do that. And here I can earn sats back while I do that. So head over to bitrefill.com if you need to get some Christmas shopping in, or if you just need to live. You can do that here. And finally, if you're backing up your seed, of course, you could do it on paper, but then that's not fireproof or waterproof or U-proof. Maybe you might throw out that slip of paper. Maybe you want to back it up on solid steel. Head over to privacypros.io to grab a BillFodl if you're looking at that. Again, make it U-proof and fireproof and waterproof. And with that, let's get off this screen and let's start bringing in our guests. We got such a killer panel today. Let me bring them all in. Legends of the space. Of course, we have Greg Foss, we have Guy Swan, we have Mauricio Di Bartolomeo, and we have Pierre Richard. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Good. Good. So, what I'll do is I'll quickly go down the line and let you guys. I guess I already gave the spoiler alert on the names, but again, reiterate who you are and what you do, just really quick, and then we'll start diving in. So, Greg, I'll toss it to you first. Can you just let everybody know who you are?
Sure. Well, hi everyone. I was saying to Ben, I'm a Bitcoin Twitter neophyte for sure. I've spent 30 years in credit though. I was a high yield bond trader on both the buy side and the sell side. So I've worked at hedge funds. I've worked for sell side institutions on Bay Street and Wall Street. And I bring a credit perspective to the analysis of Bitcoin and why I'm so convinced that, well, first of all, that fiat is a melting ice cube, and that's only math, but why we really need to take a credit perspective to the whole analysis.
Awesome. All right, great to have you. Guy, I'll toss it to you. Let everybody know who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's up? I am Guy Swan, the guy who has read more about Bitcoin than anybody else you know. I owning and operating a media production company right now. Kind of circling back around after half a decade or so in tech, and a host of the Bitcoin Audible podcast, and now more recently a Shitcoin Insider.
Love that. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll pass it off to Mauricio. Follow that up.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Mauricio Bartolomeo. I am co-founder and chief strategy officer at LEDN.io. We help people not sell their Bitcoin and earn interest on their Bitcoin, and also earn interest on their stable coins while they get turned into Bitcoiners. So
Awesome. And Pierre, we'll toss it to you. Let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, sure. Pierre Rochard. I'm the Bitcoin strategist at Kraken. It's one of the largest leading global Bitcoin exchanges. So wherever you are in the world, you can probably send a wire transfer to Kraken. And the credit perspective, I'm really interested in hearing about from Greg, because I actually started my career out in securitization. So I was working at Deloitte in Jersey City, doing attestation services for mortgage-backed securities and CMBS and ABS and everything from cell phone towers to automobiles. So I do love that world, and I feel like it's been profoundly corrupted by fiat, but that there will be credit in a Bitcoin world. It's just going to look a lot different, and it's going to work a lot better. So I'm really interested in hearing Greg's thoughts on that. And yeah, huge fan of everyone who's on this show today. So very excited for today.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get rolling. Again, we've already got a bunch of people in the chat. So keep those chat messages coming in. We'll start highlighting them, and smash that like button. Give it a share out. But I'm going to kick it off with a topic, a reason why I'm bullish. We can riff on it and then we'll move on. So my main reason for being bullish right now, and this is kind of in line with, we've seen some worry around the regulatory environment relating to privately held wallets lately. There's some worry that the Treasury might try and shove through some legislation on that. But I am bullish at the moment because of Bitcoin's anti-fragility. And so given the current environment, I'm looking back at, seeing in 2017 how many different China bans came down, which were more or less ineffective. We've seen forks of the protocol, another method of more or less attack, which have all, over time failed spectacularly. We saw the top companies and the top miners in the space try and completely change Bitcoin with SegWit 2x, and still Bitcoin withstood that level of attack. Now, obviously, legislation or regulation through the US is a larger beast, but in light of previous attempts to subvert Bitcoin, I feel like even though it could be difficult and give us a headache for a period of time, that Bitcoin finds ways to route around these things and continue existing regardless. Especially with something like a US ban, even though I doubt that's likely to happen. One of the most recent things that I can think of that in effect I think would look similar was when they tried to ban fireworks in LA on the 4th of July. And then they had that helicopter flying over LA and all you saw was just fireworks going off everywhere. And how do you clamp down on something like that? And it would be similar watching the Bitcoin blockchain, as you just saw transactions popping off everywhere between non-sanctioned wallets. And how do you stop that? How do you begin to get a handle on that? And I just have a large, a massive amount of faith that Bitcoin will continue to endure regardless of what gets thrown at it. So I'm going to pass it down the line. Let me know your thoughts about kind of where we're at, even if you're not sure on the regulatory environment, just in general about Bitcoin's anti-fragility. So I'll toss it to Greg first. How are you feeling about Bitcoin being anti-fragile and resistant to things that get thrown at it?
So I'm not going to be able to add too much to what I thought you said very eloquently. I come at it from the perspective, I'm trained as an engineer, but went into financial engineering. And I'll just tell you that financial markets and markets in general, whether they're free or somewhat closed, always find a way of overcoming restrictions. Okay. If you're a pure capitalist like I am, and I think most people on this conversation are, you believe that, the only way, in my opinion, to truly shut it down would be so it would penalize the rest of the economy so immeasurably that it's not even a consideration. So I'll throw it back to the group just to say that in 30 years of dealing in regulated and unregulated markets and trading regulated and unregulated products, it always seems that free markets win. That's my opinion.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Let's toss it to Guy Swan. How are you feeling? Oh, Guy, I think you're muted.
Well, to start off with, I'm always bullish for 100 different reasons. But what's actually kind of funny is a lot of people were, and I'm vehemently against the new regulations that it seems like they're trying to push through. But what's kind of funny about it is that this kind of seems like a nothing burger, like when we're talking about like how to actually like realistically attack or cause a problem for Bitcoin, because it seems like, I mean, this is kind of like a sad little attempt at, I guess you could say, attacking privacy, in Bitcoin. And I'm really bullish about the response. The fact that everybody's just like immediately like, no, this is stupid. Like I see tweet after tweet is like, I'm not complying with this shit. And at the exact same time is how easy it would be to overcome it. Like the whole rule itself is kind of pathetic. Because like you could create a child XPub for a single address and do the signature and not expose the rest of it, which is something that there are wallets that already do that. You make child XPubs for like certain specific accounts and that kind of thing. So you're already like kind of the tools are already there. It's just like, why should we have to build that? Because, Fourth Amendment, like you don't get to just know everything about my wallet anyway. But and then one other thing that really kind of impresses me is just the amount of pushback. I mean, obviously, nothing's been pushed through, and I don't think this would be really detrimental to anything. Like I said, getting getting around it, I think is pretty easy. But Bitcoiners are on it. Like, it was like within 24 hours, everybody was like posting and spreading. Everybody was like, no, this isn't going to happen. No, and then, got 3 congressmen that were signed the comment and published it. Like, they're trying to get this thing done under the weather. You know, they don't want to make a stink, and they want to just push this through. And I think it is explicitly about, you know, cryptocurrency. But the reaction is immediate. Like, Bitcoiners are on top of it, and I think it's kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, let's Mauricio, how are you feeling about either anti-fragility in general, or I guess the pushback that Bitcoiners have had to kind of these potential or rumored regulatory measures?
Yeah, no, I think it's a little bit of par for the course. Frankly, I think it's regulators are going to try to regulate, and Bitcoiners are going to stand for the liberties that Bitcoin gives us. So I think it's a bit of to be expected. Frankly, I think some people that are perhaps closer to the government had more of a clue that this was coming. Like they seem to be. I'm not sure where they're getting these information about these rumors, but they seem to take them very seriously, and they're going out and taking action. So just to speak to for 2 seconds to try to be devil's advocate for a hot minute, I think the main premise of these regulatory efforts are to avoid tax evasion and money laundering, right? I think if you look back to like Bank Secrecy Act and all these other requirements that are put on banks, are they're largely to avoid bad actors from taking advantage of the financial system and people that are benefiting from, say, being in the United States, not necessarily claiming the appropriate taxes, etc. So from a practical standpoint, I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have to regular users. So I think if you look at today, like I forget where I saw the data, but I think balances on exchanges are now at 2018 levels lows. Like people are actually taking action to this and trying to preempt it. The other piece to that is most people that have assets in a U.S. Platform are KYC'd. So they've already they've already given that information, and if so, assuming that these platforms would have to comply, then they would have to basically report these assets. So from a materiality, from an impact standpoint to the client, I don't think it has a lot of use or a lot of, or I might call it a massive impact to the end user. But I do think that it could perhaps hinder how nimble and how quickly platforms can act if this does get pushed through. I don't think so. To me, the most important thing is I think Bitcoin is helping people outside of developed markets exponentially more than it is helping people in developed markets, and I don't think that changes with this. So to me,